Today we're going to learn how to castle in chess. Now, in order to castle, it must be the king's first move, and it also must be the rook's first move. So whichever rook you're going to castle to, that must be the first time the piece is moved. If the piece is moved at any time, one cannot castle. As you can see right here, in this example, we haven't moved yet, so we want to castle to the right side. We're going to move the king 2 spaces over, and that's going to allow us to castle kingside. So we're going to go ahead and take it 2 spaces over right there. We castle kingside. Now, conversely, if we want to castle to the queen side, and of course we need all the pieces cleared out as well. We can't have any pieces in the way. So we'll take the king and we'll move it 2 spaces over to the left, and we castle to the queen side. And of course, in order for one to castle, you can't have pieces in the way, in addition to not moving the king or not moving the corresponding rook. So it has to be the rook's first move and the king's first move as well. So here we can't castle because there's a knight in the way. So if we move the knight, let's say right to here, and then black moves, we can now castle to the right, provided it was the first move, which it was right there. Now, of course, if one wanted to castle to the left side, the rook hasn't been moved yet, the king hasn't been moved yet, we would need to move the bishop first, and then we would need to move the knight out of the way. So black moves there, and now we can castle to the left side, or queen side. One other caveat about castling, and that is if your opponent, in this case black, is blocking the side, and they're blocking the right side as well, so they're blocking both sides, white is not able to castle. Now let's take this back a step, and let's say, for example, black puts us in check, and we decide to capture with the king right there. Well, now, when we go to our next move, white can no longer castle. So that castling option is not open. So in this case right here, if we're in check, if we move at all with our king, we can no longer castle. So if we want to be able to castle still, what we do is we need to capture with another piece, or block. In this case, we would capture with the knight right there. And now, after black moves, as long as white's not in check, white can castle to either side in this case. But let's say black kept its queen where it was, blocking the right side, and let's say they moved one of these pawns instead. Now white can only castle to the left side because that's open. Okay? So, in short, if white wants to be able to castle in this spot right here, let's say black played something like this, white's going to have to capture. So if white captures his queen, takes a knight and captures the queen right there. Now, now white's going to be able to castle to the right side. It can't castle to the left side because of the bishop on g5, but it can still castle to the right side. So that's one little caveat there. Going to show one final caveat here, and this one caught me by surprise. I've seen it in the game once. You probably won't see it much, but kind of a weird rule here. If you remember the earlier stuff we have on the board there, black has a queen right here that's eyeballing the rook on h1. We're going to have the black's king move to c7. If you'll notice, the rook can move, the king can move, but if you'll notice, more importantly, the king can castle. Even though the rook is being blocked, the king can still castle because the king is not in check. So if the rook is guarded by another piece, it doesn't matter. You can still castle as long as it's the rook's first move and the king is not moved. So we go ahead and we can castle right there to the right side, and of course that'll wrap it up. And of course that is going to wrap this up. If you're looking for more chess tips and strategies, be sure to check out the link in the description below for a playlist. There's 3 different ones on this channel, or you can just check out the playlist on this channel. But yeah, the first one we're looking at is Chess for Beginners. There's a lot of different problems, such as different tactics and strategies, forks, skewers, pins, deflection, all kinds of stuff like that. There's also this game for the PS4 that has its own separate playlist. It's called Pure Chess. You don't have to have a game to look at the problems. There's basically 99 problems in there, anywhere from mate in 1 to mate in 5. I learned a ton by doing these problems, so I think it's very, very helpful. Something definitely worth checking out. Even if you don't have the game, it's definitely worth checking out. And of course, last but not least, there is a third playlist. It's called Chess versus Master AI. Basically, it involves any chess engine that I beat that was on the hardest level when it was made. Did it with a number of different chess apps, as well as the Pure Chess game for the PS4, and I think Majestic Chess. But yeah, there's a lot of different opponents there, and we look at strategies as to how to beat those opponents, which some of them are really, really tough. So you can learn a lot with that too. And of course, that is going to wrap this up. I am signing out. Thanks for watching, and good luck.